apparently it's time for Vinyl Tag 2023. Hey everyone, it's Hannah the Omaha Introvert. Happy New Year. I've got my list of questions for the Vinyl Tag 2023. Rob Walker put together the list. I think he's taken it over maybe in the last year or two, but I will leave a link down below to his video, and you can also check out his channel. Number one is favorite new release of 2022. I'm kind of gonna feel like a broken record with some of these because I literally just showed this in my last video, but this was my favorite album of 2022, Thus Love Memorial. So you can just check out that video. I give it so much praise, but I love that album to pieces. Number two, last band or solo artist you saw live. That would have to be Idaho back in 2021. Isn't that terrible? Like, we just don't go to many concerts. That's probably due to me being more of a morning person instead of an evening person, and I kind of feel like an old lady, but that's just kind of how I am. But Idaho, they were so good live. I got to meet Jeff Martin. With Idaho, I don't have too much on vinyl, but I do have the Bayonet EP as well, and this is an original. So Hearts of Palm, the Bayonet EP, and then stay tuned for a box set I think they're going to be coming out with sometime this year. Please, 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 I'm very much looking forward to that. So number three, their first album was the best. For me, it's the Modern Lovers. I mean, this is their debut and you can't beat it. Roadrunner, I love the song Hospital. This is just pretty much a flawless debut. I bought a few other Modern Lovers LPs after this that they put out, I think in the late 70s, and I couldn't really connect with them. They didn't have the magic that this one had. So for me, Modern Lovers debut. Number four is Hat Trick. Show the vinyl, CD, cassette of an album. So the only one I can do this for is the Juliana Hatfield 3, Become What You Are. And I do feel like a broken record with this one as well because I just showed this. So I have the CD, I have the cassette, and I have the brand spanking new vinyl reissue, which just came out. They started shipping it a few weeks ago, so I got it just before Christmas. Love this album, love Juliana Hatfield, and that's a very excellent reissue. Number five, album that starts and ends with the same letter. So I'm glad I didn't have to choose a common letter like S. I was able to do this one by the Cranberries by using the letter E, so everybody else is doing it, so why can't we? And this is the Analog Spark reissue, and it just sounds fabulous, but that is a favorite 90s album of mine. Number six, Born in the Same Year as You. So this, I don't know, I don't have many artists in my collection that are my age, I found out. So this one's from Chris's collection. It's Amy Winehouse, which may be a little bit morbid for me to choose since unfortunately she passed away, but very talented artist, and it's a shame what happened to her. But yep, Amy Winehouse was born in the same year as me, which is 1983, which means I am turning 40 this year. What the hell? Most listened to album in 2022, which is number 7. I chose 2 of them. I've listened to this record from Cocteau Twins so much. This is Head Over Heels, which is their second full-length album. Just love this so much. I don't want to say too much about it because I plan on doing a Cocteau Twins album ranking sometime this year, hopefully early this year. But Head Over Heels, that was one of them. The other one that I listened to a lot last year is a record by The Fall, and it's Hex Induction Hour, and this is a Superior Viaduct reissue. But Hip Priest, I mean, I really have connected with The Fall probably last year more than any other year, and this album I listened to a lot. To coincide with that, the most listened to artist in 2022 is number 8. It would have to be Susie and the Banshees for me, and I just picked 3 albums out of my collection. So these aren't necessarily my top 3, by the way. It's just kind of randomly I chose. So Tinderbox, and then their live album Nocturne. I just listened to Susie and the Banshees so much last year. Okie dokie, we are at number 9, Australian artist or band. I chose my favorite, which is The Church, and I only picked one out, but this is Heyday. So I actually found this down at Grapefruit Records a few weeks ago. It has the promo stamp on front. This is the first time I have ever seen this record out in the wild. So it was incredibly exciting for me because this is like either my top album by them or in my top 2. So I finally found a really clean copy. I have 2 other copies, but they are VG. Like I got screwed on a trade with one of them, and the other one I had ordered from Discogs, but it came in a generic sleeve. So I feel like with this album you need the whole package. And The Church are just a phenomenal band with an incredibly lengthy discography. I've seen them live, can't wait for their new album. So and I also put out a favorite Australian bands video a few months ago. If you do want to check that out, I'll leave the link up above. Number 10, a surprising purchase of 2022. So this is an artist that I kind of wrote off for a while, but last year was the year that I really started coming around to her music, and that's Kate Bush. And this is a Japanese press of her album Never Forever. So this is one I listened to a lot last year, and then also I bought a reissue of Hounds of Love. And yes, I am one of those people who, you know, didn't really get into her until probably the Stranger Things craze. I'm just being honest. Number 11, an artist or band you're complete on. So that's actually my display behind me, which is The Who, and I also have Pete Townsend kind of on the bottom there. I am complete on The Who. If you followed my channel for a while, they are still my favorite band of all time. I am obsessed. I have done a ranking video. I have done a Pete Townsend ranking. So yeah, I mean, I don't really need to say anything else. I know I'm not displaying their 2 most recent albums here, but I do have them on CD. I thought it appropriate to display them for that question. So number 12 is a great run of 3 albums. I kind of went back and forth on this one. Do I go with Sonic Youth or do I go with Wire, like the first 3 Wire albums? Ultimately, I decided to choose Teenage Fan Club. We have Bandwagon-esque, we have 13, and we have Grand Prix. So these are the albums I return to the most. I just love Teenage Fan Club for their strong harmonies, their hooks. They are one of my favorite power pop bands ever, hands down. We have number 13, 80s soundtrack. So I thought it appropriate to choose this one, and I really don't have too many soundtracks in my collection, but I decided to choose one from Chris's side, and this is Blue Velvet. And this is kind of notable because Angelo Badalamenti recently passed away a few weeks ago. So RIP, and this is just a classic movie and a classic soundtrack to boot. So number 14 is We Lost Them in 2022. So I decided to choose Andrew Fletcher from Depeche Mode, which Rob Walker also chose, but that's the one that truly hit me the hardest in 2022 because this is my second favorite band of all time. On other days, they could be my favorite band of all time, but yeah, he was known as Fletch, and he was one of the more underrated members of the group, but he contributed so much. Incredibly difficult loss, and this is one of my favorite albums by them. But I am also complete on Depeche Mode, but very sad to lose Fletch. Number 15 is a disappointing purchase in 2022. That would have to be this record by the Comsat Angels, and this is their record called 7 Day Weekend. So I picked this up at the Omaha Record Show, I think earlier last year, and I never even showed this on my channel. But I mean, this is another band I could have chosen like a trio of brilliant albums for. So, I mean, after listening to this one, which is Waiting for a Miracle, followed by Sleep No More, followed by Fiction, like these are stunning, excellent albums, and this one is just kind of a dud. It's got that cheesy 80s production. It didn't grab me, so that was a disappointing one for me. Number 16 is a non-vinyl purchase, so a CD in other words, and I chose this one. This is a band called Swell, and the album is called Well, and this was released in 1992. So it's like a folky alternative band. What's his name? I think David, his case is broken. David Friel. Dude is a genius. My friend Nicola here on YouTube and Instagram, she recommended this band to me. I had never heard of them before. This is like folky 90s alternative rock with some 60s psych thrown in. I just love this because it's like the layered guitars. So you've got the acoustic guitars, but then on top is like fuzzy, noisy guitars. I just feel like this is a very overlooked band of the 90s, and I would encourage you to check them out if you are unfamiliar. Number 17 is You Found a Grail. Well, I found a lot of grails last year, but I'll just show this one. This is Husker Du's Zen Arcade, and I'm starting to think this is an original. I know the vinyl is original, but I was thinking maybe the jacket was an 89 reissue, but I think this truly is an original. So I'm so glad to have this, and it's one of my favorite punk records of the 80s. Number 18, a space-themed album sleeve or song. I have this Walter Carlos Switched on Bach 2 classical record. I mean, look at that cover. It's kind of comical. Number 19 is Show Some VCLT or a Present, and I want to show this one, which I just got for Christmas. This is like probably the most well-known broadcast record. It's called Tender Buttons. It is so good. This is the first broadcast in my collection. So this is like a 2015 reissue on Warp Records, but yeah, it's like electronic music with 60s pop fused in there. Really very sad that the singer passed away from swine flu. I don't remember what year. I think maybe around 2011 or so. But this is an amazing record. Number 20, last question, is show an album released in 1973. So I have Faust 4, and this is a reissue I picked up at Grapefruit. I chose this one because it's a little bit off the beaten path for me to show. I'm kind of just getting into krautrock, like little by little, bits and pieces, but yep, this is kind of a recent one I picked up and I thought it fit the bill. So I mean, they even have a song called Krautrock, but Faust. So that's my number 20. All right, that's it. That's my Vinyl Tag 2023. I'm glad I was able to film it pretty early on here in the year. My work is slow today, so I'm taking advantage of that. I'm really glad I did the Vinyl Tag this time because when I look back on my channel, I don't think I've done one of these since 2019. So I'm glad I participated this time. Leave comments down below and I will see you guys next time. Later.